Recording in progress.
So today I was on Insta and I'm scrolling and I follow Paulina Porizkova,
Oh, yeah.
the supermodel.
Yeah.
And we're like basically the same
She's having like her
age.
second moment in the sun.
She is.
Yeah.
She wrote an autobiography.
Mhm.
I actually met her a few weeks ago at this book launchy thing in LA. But what was interesting is like she's been very open about aging and going through her sort of a divorce, even though they were in the same house and
Right.
whatever. So she's been dating a new guy and she's
Okay.
been sharing all this stuff on Instagram. And so I saw, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. I mean, I don't follow her religiously or anything.
Right.
But today she was saying about, like last week she posted about being in a committed relationship with this new guy after
Okay.
dating for however many months, and they met online. And everybody's like, which app? And she was like, they're all the same, which I was like, yay, thanks
Yeah,
for telling
exactly.
the truth.
Exactly.
They're all the same. They're a
This-
tool to
yeah,
meet people.
exactly.
And so today, though, her post caught my eye
Okay.
because she said something, and I'm paraphrasing, but she was saying something about, I'm really grateful for all your support. A lot of people are sharing how, oh, you give me hope. Because she's
okay.
like 57, and here she is, at
She met a guy
57.
that-
She
yeah.
met a guy, and it's
Yeah.
going well, and they're now exclusive, and they took their profiles off the app, and
Awesome.
And she said, I love giving you all hope, but I don't want you to think any of this has happened by accident. And that's when I kept reading. I was like, I'm going to read this whole thing.
Yeah.
Because she says it took a lot of work. I had to do a lot of inner work. She's like, in my childhood, I learned this, this, and this, and la, la, la. And it really reminded me not only of the work that we do, but it reminded me of my own story. Because, I mean, in our inbox, I get, I don't know, at least a couple times a week, an email from somebody telling me how lucky I am
Right.
to have found you. As if,
Like I was lying on the sidewalk somewhere.
yeah, like
and
you were like a
like
quarter.
like a $5 bill.
Okay, a $5 bill.
Better than a quarter. A quarter? Oh my.
I'm just saying, just like I found you.
A 20. A $100 bill.
Oh, that would be sure. I found a $100 bill on the street once when I was like 17. That's a story for another day. But it's like I'm so lucky that I found you. Let's
Right.
get back on point.
Yes.
And I think to myself, I'm lucky that I found you. Like I was like, gosh, luck has absolutely nothing to do with it. We're talking today about why love is easy for some people and hard for others. And I think we're both here doing this work out there, reaching out to you all to say, hey, we're here to help you. Because none of this was easy for either one of us.
No.
There was
not
nothing
easy.
easy about it all. Like if you had told me when I was like 7 or 14 or 24 or 34,
Yeah.
like you're going to grow up in a family that you're going to be embarrassed about, that you never even had people come spend the night because you didn't know what shit was going to go down, and
Right.
tons of trauma and abuse in my childhood home, that I would work so hard through college that I never really even dated anybody because I was working full time to pay for going to college, that I worked 3 jobs over the summer so I could then go into the school year with a little bit of a buffer, knowing that I'd have some time to study. But and then of course, I was gonna have like the guy I thought I would share my life with, like try to kill me,
Right.
And then somewhere along the way, I will have figured it out by the time I was in my 40s to quote unquote find you. Like
And you'd be so lucky.
there's so nothing lucky about that whole journey. So like I want to say big shout out to Paulina Porizkova for letting people know luck is not part of the equation, because the reason why love is easy for some and hard for others. Should we do a drum roll? Drum roll.
Yeah.
Is all based on what you learned about love and decided about love in your family of origin when
Yeah.
you were just a little kid.
It's I hate to say it, but it's the childhood trauma that you're carrying around. It is the gap between how you desire to be loved and how the people who raised you were capable of loving you. And in that gap, you've made a decision. And in that decision, you say, there's something wrong with me. Some people say there's also something wrong with the world, right, in that gap. And that takes on this wounding story. We call it your love imprint. That's really the basis of everything we do. But that gap and the decision you make in that gap is why love is easy for some and hard for others. Some people lucked in, I hate to say it this way, but they made a good choice about what it meant in that gap, because nobody was loved the way they desired to be loved.
I mean, I remember we did a Love Imprint session a few years back with somebody
Okay.
who basically is the oldest of 2 kids. And she said something like, even when I was a little kid, I thought, God, these people, like her parents, had no freaking idea what they were doing. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
And on some level, I related to that so much. Like, I was like, well, I mean, by the time I got to be in my 30s, I was like, well, I could sit here and still be upset about my parents' limited capacity
Right.
and that they didn't have any skills and had no business raising, 1 kid, much less 3, right? That I could be upset about that, and I could, hang my badge of honor on that, or I could decide, oh, wow, I really want a great love relationship, so what can I do about it?
Right.
And I think that's the decision point that so many people, because of what the world has been through, I mean, we have been I'm going to say in the best possible way, bombarded with people finding us and
Right.
coming on board to do this inner work. And part of the inner work is that there's resistance to doing it, which I find so interesting because there's so many people stuck in this way where they want the thing, but they feel weird about putting the work into it because it has to do with love. And I think, well, what if you had 20 pounds you needed to lose, right? Is that just going to happen
Yeah.
when it's meant to be?
Are you going to
or when
hope?
you least expect it?
Are you going to
or-
hope that the food you normally eat, if is going to help you lose weight?
Yeah,
You
and
know,
you
are
wouldn't
you-
expect that.
Are you going to keep eating the same food, but maybe walk an extra mile a day and think that's going to do it? Right? There's a little more that goes into it than that. So before we go further into this whole story, I just want to say I'm Matthew Walters.
Hi, everybody. I'm Orna Walters.
And you're here with Love Intervention. We are here to intervene in your love life, to get you off that path of frustration and heartache that it seems like so many people suffer through, and on the path to long-lasting love. And one of the ways we want to say we're the ones to take you on that path is because we've both walked that path ourselves. And then for the last 15 years, we've walked thousands of people on that path.
Thousands upon thousands. And it's like, look, the deal is, there's so many people talking about, well, what are your patterns, right? And then they say, well, talk about your patterns. And every time I hear somebody say, talk about your patterns, I'm like, please don't. Please don't talk about your patterns. Please stop thinking that talking about why you are the way you are is going to solve anything.
Yeah.
Please, if you can do any singular one thing, any singular one takeaway is that story, whatever it is about why you are the way you are, whether it was mom, whether it was dad, whether whoever, I don't care, grandma, you, I don't care. Stop telling, we're going to call it your story of woe.
Right.
I have a story of woe. I had a story of woe. I had to set that story of woe aside and decide that I want to live in a different place. Because if you keep looking back on those events and you think that that's the place, the healing evolves in the present moment to propel you into a new kind of future. So another way to say that is it's an inner transformation that changes your outer experience. And I will explain to you in the easiest possible way what that actually looks like. Hi, I used to be Orna Benari, and this guy was at the same networking meeting. We met
Right.
through a business networking group, and we know for a fact we went to the same meeting once a month for a year, at least a year, like a little over a year, but a minimum of a year. We were in that same room,
We never talked to each other.
never talked to each other for a year.
Yeah.
And suddenly you had an inner transformation
Yeah.
that caused you to suddenly, like, I didn't pop for
Suddenly
you.
notice you, right? I'd noticed you, but you hadn't registered or landed or stuck with me in any way. And I don't mean that, in a bad way.
I take no offense.
And then there was that day where you sat at my table and it was like there was this light right over your head. And I just went, I have to talk to this person. I really need to talk to this woman. And it was a compulsion. It was a really strong desire. And it wasn't like I need to ask her out on a date. That came later.
That took like about 6 weeks.
Well, no, the one to ask her out for a date didn't take 6 weeks, but the asking did.
Oh, right.
But
Yeah.
there was suddenly this person who had been in my orbit for over a year suddenly went from like an extra to like a co-starring role. And that's what we want you to get about the transformation. So before we go too much more into this, I want to say, please type into the chat, who you are. Say hi to us, where you're from. We'd love to know how many people are here, where you're joining us from. We'd love
Where
to say
are you
hi.
right now? Yeah, like where in the world are you? Like you might be from Arizona, but maybe right now or you're in Manhattan or whatever. Like let us know where you're joining us from, because we like to send our heart energy like to where you literally are in this moment, so that we can sort of embrace you, because unless you've struggled, right, you're not on the easy side of this equation, right? You're on the other side of the equation where love feels hard. And I want to send you like a big giant hug to say, look, it was really hard for me for so long, and I had so much doubt along the way, right? And that when I look back and I think about all these events, even in my home stretch on the way to this amazing human, that I wish somebody would have told me, you're in the home stretch, or keep going. There's this story about being 3 feet from gold that we've told on this before. Like, you are in charge of your future. Your future does not have to look like your past. And that you might feel broken, but that ultimately you're in charge, and it's possible for you to get into the driver's seat of your love life.
Yeah.
So you can create a different result. Because I know for me, there were the guys that I found hot, like super attractive, right? And that I was drawn to like a bee to honey, and those guys were never good for me. And then there were other guys that like pursued me heavily. Most of them I was like, ew, no. And a couple of them I was like, oh, I'll try it, but it still felt weird. And so I started doing a lot of experimenting. And I think one of the things that we want you all to know is, we know you hate dating. Like, who wants to date? Anybody? I dare somebody to type in the chat, I love dating.
All right. As we're waiting for that, I want to share Angela from Facebook, because if you're watching us on Facebook, please give us a like or a share. You
And
can
let us know
comment
where
in
you're
there.
from, yeah.
Comment in there, because
Ask a
our
question.
team will transport it over.
So hi, Angela.
Angela shares it's very hard for her with a sad face. Sorry,
sorry.
Angela. Then
We're
we have
here to help.
Marissa says hello from San Bruno
Hi.
in the Bay Area. Hi, Marissa. And then Tina says hello from California.
Seems like everybody's from
Excellent.
California. We're in
Angela's
California.
from North Carolina.
Oh, hey, North Carolina, right on. We
So-
got some East Coasters.
Exactly. So we want to hear from anybody who loves dating.
Anybody
And
love
so far
dating?
it's crickets,
Yeah,
right? So far nothing.
I think that's.
I don't think we're going to get any
Why don't we
responses.
go the other way? Who thinks dating sucks? Just
Yeah.
put me in the chat. Who just raise your hand, type me in the chat. Say
Yeah.
me. I hate dating. Dating sucks.
There we go.
Who
And
wants to date?
If you're watching us on YouTube, you can also answer there. You can click the bell to subscribe. There we go. We got me. It sucks.
Yes, it
Marissa,
sucks.
Tina
it sucks.
says me.
Tell us
No,
how
I
much
don't
you
like
hate
it.
dating.
Right?
I don't like dating. Nancy says hi. Nancy, hi, back at ya. So listen, we know. Look, sometimes there's a part of me that goes, "How can I be doing this?" Like, really, because
Right.
I was I never wanted to date.
Oh, yeah.
I made all the mistakes I tell our clients not to do. Like the second the guy I think is cute wants, like forget about it. I'm like jumping into exclusivity on the second, third date.
Right.
I'm moving into sex way too quick.
Yeah.
Like all of those things. I'm
Having
investing.
sex first before you even know what's going on.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And I think that also it's the thing about I was so I was love starved in my family of origin, because I was attention starved in my family of origin, and so I it's weird because I know on the one hand I have a big presence, like I have a big energy field for the good and the bad of that, but I had so many guys I was friends with after dating them, and I stayed friends with them, and they would tell me, well, you're just a completely different person. If you could just be the same person as my girlfriend as you are when we're friends, like that would be cool. And I never understood what they meant. I was so I guess you would probably say needy,
Okay.
I guess. Or the other thing I got was intense.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember, I know it was February, because it was right after Valentine's Day of 2007. And just so you know, our first date was September 8th of 2007. So earlier that year, February of 2007, I did a Manifest Your Soulmate workshop. And this woman, I remember, said something like, your soulmate. I did not want to, I was like I had to stifle a laugh in the room. Like she said something like, your soulmate will love that thing about you that all the others left you over. And I was like, I thought that was just a bunch of shit, man. I did not believe it. And I hated dating. I hated the beginning of a relationship. I was like, oh my God, put me in a rut where I know he's my boyfriend at least, let me not worry about whether I'm going to see him or he's going to call or whatever. Like, take me, just commit, damn it. Like, it was so awful to date. It felt so uncomfortable. I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin enough to want to date. And I didn't know how to date. And I remember the first teleclass I ever took, of course, was about dating. It was called like Smart Dating or something.
Smart dating. I
Smart
like that.
dating.
Rather than stupid dating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was taught by these two therapists. They were a married couple. And I was not in the bell curve. I am never in the bell curve. I was the weirdo in the group. And they gave this really weird analogy about if you were at Auschwitz and you were stuck in Auschwitz, but you could escape and you couldn't take your family or any of your friends or anybody with you. Only you could escape Auschwitz. And I literally started having a breakdown because my mom is a Holocaust survivor.
From Auschwitz.
My mom was in Auschwitz. My mom was actually taken from her childhood home by actual Nazis.
Did you ever find out the point of that?
No, because I was literally having a mental breakdown at that point.
Yeah.
And at that point, I screwed them up, right? And so I don't know if they just edited me all out of their thing that they were recording to sell for later, because I know that now I know that's what they were doing. Like they did a live group and then recorded it to put out later. And I was like, I felt badly. Not that I didn't get what I needed. I felt badly. I screwed up their.
You derailed their.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, and I remembered thinking I'm broken.
Right.
Like nobody can help me. I don't understand I never understood the point of that little example. But I think it has something to do with what we call taking responsibility.
Okay.
Which is a weird way to say about taking responsibility. I'm making it up because I don't really know.
Yeah, let's see if we can come back around. Online dating is awful, says Angela. Yeah, everybody hates dating, but everybody wants a relationship. And so,
bingo.
How are you going to meet those people?
How are you going to make these two
Is it
things?
going to happen at Starbucks?
Yeah.
Is it going to just, come knocking on your door? It's not. And so we need to think about dating differently.
Yeah. Oh, I have to say something.
Okay.
Me.
You in the red.
Me. Okay. Here's the deal. Because I think when we say we didn't meet online, that people are like, well, wait, you guys didn't meet online, right?
Yeah.
However, how many sites were you on when we met?
Let's see. I did eHarmony. I did Veggie Date. I did Match.
I think you were on those two when I met you. Or maybe it was Match and Veggie Date. I don't remember. You told me at the time. But we didn't take notes because we didn't know we were going to work together. So,
but I did several sites and over the years and on and off. And
look, we will agree with you that the dating sucks. Like but it's a tool. Like I want you to understand, like it's, how can this, if I had a ruler, I can pull a ruler out of my sleeve, right? If I was a magician, I said, how can this ruler suck or not suck? Because the ruler is a tool if I want to measure shit or draw a straight line, right? And so that's what online dating is. Like, to say that it sucks, you're personifying online dating. Because it is an inanimate object.
We started...
So hold on, I'm going to say something because we did meet IRL. However... I was on a couple sites. Mm-hmm. I was doing a lot of dating. As a matter of fact, the summer before we started dating, the summer of 2007, I went on more dates than I'd ever been on in my life. When Matthew and I had, our first date was on a Saturday night. I had another date. It was a first date. So I had a first date with Matthew on Saturday night, although I knew him because we'd been in the same networking group. I knew who he was, at least. I had some context for who he was, and I knew what he did for a living, and I'd heard him get up in front of the room and be like, hello, I'm Matthew Walters, and that kind of thing. Right. Yeah, with your sexy voice and all that.
Hello, I'm Matthew Walters.
Yeah, like that. And I had a first date with a guy on Sunday night that I had met at a party, like an event.
Okay.
And I had not a first date with a guy I'd been kind of dating very casually. This guy, Bobby, no, that was the Sunday night date, actually. So you were Saturday night. Bobby, who I'd been dating, was Sunday night. And then I had the first date with the guy from the party, the event, whatever, that was a Monday, was a Monday night date.
That's pretty good.
That was two first dates. So it would have been a first date with you and the guy from the party, and Bobby, who had been dating. And who has a first date on a Sunday and a Monday? I don't know. I was busy. My calendar was busy.
You were?
Because I had committed to the process. So here's our free coach's tip. I'm not even giving it until everybody tells me how many people are on here. I need all 14 people to type in the chat. Yes, give me the tip.
Yeah.
Yes, just yes.
And while we're waiting for that.
I'm going to make it even easier for those of you who don't like to type in the chat. Y. Type the letter Y. As in yes. N would be no. Y is yes.
All right.
Okay?
While we're waiting,
yes,
I just want to share
I don't want to forget the
on
tip.
YouTube, Tam from San Diego says hi, and she also says dating sucks. So we have 1, 2, 3 yeses. We're only waiting for 11 more.
11 more.
You realize those of you who are not answering are holding it back from the people who really want the answer.
Give the answer.
All right.
Yes, please. Give me the
2,
tip.
3, 4, 5, 6. We're getting her 7. It's
Keep
coming.
going.
Keep going.
Keep it going. We're more than halfway there. No, we're halfway there. Whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa. We're living on a prayer, kids. Come on. Come on.
Everybody wants the
other
tip.
7 are like, I'm driving the car, I'm riding my bike. I'm
I
at
guess
the
they
gym.
don't want the
They
tip.
can't type.
I guess they don't want the tip.
Come on. Do it. Do it. Yes. Give us a yes. Give us a yes.
Looks like
if you want to know the biggest mistake you're making while you're trying to be dating. I had to make it rhyme.
All right. So
Is that enough?
I think
We're going to give it
6 people
anyway?
want it, so we'll give it anyway, because otherwise that would suck.
I thought it was 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got another one.
All right. There
All
we
right.
go.
The scales have tipped. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria.
So here we go.
The biggest mistake?
The biggest mistake that you're making is in your dating, you forget to date with non-attachment. Dating with non-attachment. What you're looking for is to connect with somebody as absolutely quickly as possible and then get off that dating site. Boop, boop. You are setting yourself up for failure. And the reason why I was in a place when this guy called me and eventually asked me out took 6 weeks, even in real life. Okay. At that point, that summer, I had committed to just I set the bar so low. Some of our clients are on here. Like I say, not an axe murderer. I'll go on the date.
Right.
And what people tell us all the time is, I don't have the time for that. I don't have the time. You're protecting your time. And I'm going to call bullshit on your number one excuse that's keeping you from love. If you don't have time to go on, I'm going to say 3 to 4 dates. It should be a minimum of 2 to 3 dates a week. You don't have time for a relationship. Because the lie you're telling yourself is, when/if I find the person, I will make the time. No. So all of those law of attraction people that tell you, the law of law of the universe, the laws of nature is that nature abhors a vacuum, hates an empty space. So set the table for 2 people and have 2, nightstands in your bed. You know what? I never did that. I barely had room for 1 nightstand in my bed, in that bedroom I had when Matthew and I started dating. That room was so tiny. I didn't have 2 nightstands. I never set the table for 2. No, that's not where you make the space. You know where you make the space? You make the space by committing to the process of going on a shit ton of dates. Stop pretending you're a private investigator and thinking you're going to find your soulmate in a profile. You won't. My matron of honor was like Miss Fashionista. It's one of the reasons why I picked her to be my matron of honor. And she told me, you will not know your wedding dress on the hanger. You got to try it on. So I'm going to embarrassingly tell you the truth that I tried on over 300 wedding gowns. I did. I was over 40. I'd never been engaged before. I made appointments.
You got excited. You wanted to try on all those dresses.
I made appointments at the most expensive, high-end designer stores in all of Beverly Hills. I rotated through all of my close inner circle who came with me. And I had so much fun having these ladies like offer me champagne and this. I mean, I think they would have rubbed my feet and my shoulders if I asked them for a massage. I mean, it was crazy pants. And I tried over 300 dresses. You can't tell on the hanger if that dress is going to be your dress or not. So you can't tell through a profile if that's your person or not. You got to go.
You really can't.
And meet this person face to face. I didn't even have, like, we're going to say it here, what we tell all, I mean, look, I'm going to spill it because this is the deal. So many of you wrote yes. Attraction is not a requirement for a date. Attraction is not a requirement for a date. A date is to go meet another human being. That's it.
Yeah, have coffee, have a
That's
cocktail.
It should be about an hour, about 60 minutes.
Yeah.
That's it. You don't need to spend 2 hours. Don't do dinner and a movie on a first date. Just don't do it. That's too much time. Plus, you're just going to sit in the dark in the movie theater anyway. You don't even find out anything about that other person.
Yeah.
So make it about an hour. Coffee, tea, a cocktail, a short walk in public, in a busy area, whatever, like on a busy boardwalk. I mean, the weather is nice in the northern hemisphere. It's spring, it's going to be summer. Go on a shit ton of dates and lower the bar and just be you and start getting comfortable in your own skin and speaking up and sharing with the person across the table whatever's going on with you in that moment.
And being curious about another human being.
That's it.
Right, that's not hard to do, to say, there's a strange person I've never met before sitting across from me. We spoke on the phone maybe once or twice. Let me see if I can ask you some questions and find out some things about you. I'm curious about you as a human being.
And if
and that's all you have to do.
You
don't have to evaluate. Hold on. You don't have to evaluate them. You don't have to decide if they're your soulmate or not. There isn't a lightning bolt that's going to hit you. You don't have to worry about chemistry or attraction. If you put all of that stuff aside and just say, I'm going to go out, I'm going to meet people, and I'm going to be curious about them, then one, dating's not going to be a chore. Two, you're going to meet some really interesting people. And three, you're actually going to meet your person sooner.
Faster. Because you're dating with non-attachment and you're not getting dating burnout because you're not, I hope this is the one. Oh, it's not. I hope this is the one. No, it's not. I hope this is the one. No, it's not that. It's exhausting. Stop wringing yourself like that, like your heart is some kind of wet towel. Just stop it. You're not going to know on the first date. You're not going to know on the second date. You're not going to know on the 7th date. You're not going to know on the 14th date. Just stop counting dates like, oh, I'm supposed to pass some kind of weird milestone. Your love life is like cooking up stew or soup or something that takes time. You got to do slow love. Slow love is the remedy, but date with non-attachment.
Yeah.
Non-attachment. I can say it over and over and over again. And you can think about doing this all you want, and you can have a million excuses about why you don't have the time. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm calling bullshit on all of you saying you don't have the time. Then you don't have time for a relationship, so you don't really want one. Or there's something deeper going on because you have all this resistance to investing time in the process that will get you to your goal faster. The biggest mistake you're making is you're trying to attach yourself to somebody as quickly as possible, which is a big, 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 big no-no.
Because
let me tell you something.
Well,
the biggest turn on
yeah.
is when you tell somebody, not yet. Not yet.
Yeah.
Didn't you try to kiss me?
I did. I went
Yeah,
right
lean
in for
in
the
to kiss
kiss.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ran.
She ran away from me. And
Oh my
you know
God,
what?
it was so hot.
That was so hot. That was so great. Because, anyway, we don't need to go into why. It was just hot. So, the thing about needing it to be your person, right? Like Orna said, you exhaust yourself. You wear yourself out because you invest. You have this thing that says, God, I just want to find the one so I don't have to do this anymore, right? And what happens is you commit too quickly. And when you commit too quickly, you ignore red flags or you fall into your old pattern of the wrong kind of person. And you say to yourself, well, dating sucks because I keep meeting the wrong kind of people over and over and over again and over again, right? And it's because you're rushing. It's because for some reason there's like this ticking clock behind you that's saying you have to meet this person quickly. And this frustration and this desire is getting in the way of you just being present. So, but what's behind all of that, and where we really started today, which is why is love easy for some and hard for others? Well, one, I don't think love is easy for anyone.
Lasting love.
Lasting love.
I mean,
right?
they may come together easily.
They may
but you're
come
gonna have
together easily,
challenges.
but they're still going to have challenges.
Yeah.
They're still going to have to work through their differences over time. You think those people who were married 50, 60, 70 years didn't have differences, didn't have disagreements, didn't have misunderstandings, didn't have arguments that they had to work through? No, of course they did. They're two human beings, right? And if they didn't have those things, then they're probably not even spending any time together. And that's why they were together for so long. So the thing is, stop thinking about why love is easy for some and hard for others, why some people are lucky and you're unlucky. You got to let it go. The thing about intimate relationship, I always say this to Orna. I said, if I spent as much time with you, with the Dalai Lama, as I do with you, right? If literally, because we're together almost 24 hours a day. If I spent that much time with the Dalai Lama, eventually I'd be like, Dalai, you're driving me crazy. Can you stop eating your rice like that? Or those weird noises you make, or whatever it is. Something about another human being is going to annoy you. Or you're not going to be paying attention and you're going to have a misunderstanding and you're going to think they insulted you when they really weren't even talking about you. Or whatever, right? Or you're going to think that their behavior is just like your mom's or your dad's and they're trying to control you like your parents did. Whatever the thing is, right? Other people are going to trigger your stuff. And so when you let go of this story about, love being some fantasy. You know what? We were watching. Sorry, I'm on a rant now. We're watching Indian matchmaking. I don't know if you've seen the show. It's a great show.
So good
It's so
on
much fun.
Netflix, yeah.
You really see people's stuff. And there's this current season. There's this woman, beautiful woman. She was Miss India, and she's like gorgeous, and you can tell she has this lovely personality, and yet she's so closed off. Right? Because her parents...
can't open up.
She can't open up. Her parents fought a lot when she was younger because they came from different classes and different castes, and it was a real problem. And she created in her mind a fantasy of what love is supposed to be like. And because nobody can live up to the fantasy, she's sick of even trying to meet people. Right? These are the kinds of ways we twist ourselves into pretzels about this stuff instead of just saying, enough. I'm going to be done with my story about love. I'm sick of my story about love. We were at an event once.
Get sick of it.
Get sick of your story. We were at an event once. It was a personal growth event. It was very early in our relationship. I don't even think we were married yet. And because it was this personal growth thing, that first day, I don't know, something the speaker said, I brought up some stuff around my family, especially, particularly my brothers and my relationship with them. And
He has 3 older brothers.
we're in the hotel that night, and I'm talking to Orna. I said, "Hi, man, it's just all this crap's coming up about my brothers, and I'm so tired of it." And la 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 la. And I'm singing my story, right? And Orna looks at me and she goes, "You know what? Here's what I want you to do. Tomorrow, you have a choice. You can either do A, meaning tomorrow you're going to go everybody you meet in the event tomorrow. You're going to tell them your story of woe, or you can just let it go." And I thought for about a minute, I thought, what would it be like if every person I had to go up to tomorrow and I had to tell them this poor, sad sob story about my relationship with my brothers and how it screwed me up and how la 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 la. And I went, oh God, I don't even want to tell that story one more time. I never want to tell that story again. So I just turned to her and said, okay, I'm done. I'm sick of it. I'm moving on. And not that there wasn't still work I needed to do to get rid of the emotional stuff around it and all of that. However, I want you to think about what story you're carrying around. What story about what happened in your childhood, what story about what happened with your ex, what story about whatever.
That's why it's hard.
That's why it's hard for you, because you won't let it go.
That's why it's hard. It's hard because you're making it hard because you're holding on to that story like it's part of your identity.
Yep.
And what I want to say, because we both let go of our stories of woe and don't tell them anymore. I mean, we share a little bit here, but it's like we let them go. They don't have power over us anymore. So I love that Marissa said, yes, you called me out, LOL. So thank you for owning that. And Tam says, I totally get the wedding dress story. Yeah, I mean, my dress, I got to tell you, I have like, it's like what they call a mermaid silhouette. I would have never thought that with this crazy 15-foot long train, like I was like, Princess Diana or something. Oh my God, I love my wedding gown. I put it on, I was like, oh my God, this is my gown. Like it just was perfect. And so it's the same thing. You can't tell by an online profile. Stop looking for your soulmate in a profile. Stop thinking that your life is going to be exactly the way it is right now, but plus one. That won't be true either.
Right.
Your life will not be like it is now when you add in a whole other human being. And I think this is where people get freaked out. Like, who does that freak out? Again, just put a Y for yes. Who does it freak out when you go, but I don't want my life to change. I don't want my life to change. Who are our control freaks? Own it. Own your control freak. Yeah. Okay. I love that you're on it today, Marissa. I love that you're willing to go there, right? Who else? Who else is like, no, I just want my life to stay exactly as it is, plus
with a plus
another
one.
person.
Yeah.
With a plus
my
one.
life plus one.
My life as it is just right now, plus one. And who really thinks that that's what you want? Like, that's what you're striving for. You're looking for that one person you could just, like, they'll just drop right into your life the way it is right now. And who does that freak out when I tell you how ridiculous that sounds, that you go, oh shit, that is ridiculous. Who else knows that we're telling you the truth? We're telling you the God honest truth, because you are making it hard. And I know that when we are saying that you're making it hard, that you're like, oh crap, but how do I do it differently? Who wants to know how to do it differently for real?
I think, yeah.
Who wants to do it differently? Say me. Me,
There we go.
me. Okay, great. Here's where to start. You can't find this link on our website. So unless you get it right now, you're not going to be able to find that link. And you know what? It's not a great page there. You're going to read through it and you'll be like, really?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that's the place to start right now until we redo that page. Some of you might not know we launched a brand new website in October, and there's a bunch of other pages we haven't updated. This is one of those that hasn't been updated yet. We've been a little busy helping people. So all of you yeses and me's, whether you typed it in the chat or not, you can go to yourloveimprint.com. You cannot find this link from our website. Your love imprint is why love has been hard for you. But knowing your love imprint is like having the prescription. It's the linchpin. It's the thing that's been keeping you stuck, literally stuck. Not why everybody is stuck, but you specifically. Like you, Marissa, and you, Tina, and you, Nancy, and you, Tam, and you, Carol, and you, Victoria, right? Because there isn't a blanket reason. I mean, we could sit here and dispense some other cookie cutter things that'll get some of you to go, yes, and type in the chat. I love that. Because there are common themes and common threads. But the reason why you're stuck, because your love imprint is made up of your limiting beliefs about love, your mental emotional patterns for love, and your behavioral strategies for giving and receiving love. So, for example, one of my limiting beliefs about love was all men will cheat.
Ooh.
I believe that. Oh,
Yeah.
I believe that. That blocked me from love for a long time. But guess what else? Guess what it brought me? Cheater, cheater, cheater.
Right.
Cheater, right?
Right.
So I had all this evidence. Look at all the cheaters, right? I thought all men would cheat. Oh, and when I had the realization that that was part of my story of woe, and I had to take responsibility for it, it was like, oh, it was kind of like nauseating. Like I was like, oh, crap. And I was like, okay, well, if I get rid of that, what do I have to lose? I had everything to gain. And so I was like, okay, I'm willing to chuck my story of woe. I'm ready to believe that, oh, not all men will cheat. I mean, I remember when we started dating, you would sometimes be at your office with clientele that was mostly female, and you'd be there till like 9, sometimes 10 o'clock at night before you came home.
Yeah.
Yeah, before we worked together. And I wasn't like freaking out, like, where is he? What's going on? I never doubted you for a second.
Yeah.
Ever. So your story of woe, right? Your love imprint sets you free because you understand tangibly why you're stuck. Not why everybody's stuck, but knowing why you're stuck. And sometimes when you're in your own little fishbowl, it's hard to know what that is. Because your love imprint is the language of the wounding of that little girl, little boy inside of you, that little person inside of you that wasn't loved the way they wanted to be loved. And you internalized what happened, as that little kid, and you said, what's wrong with me that my parents are behaving this way? What's wrong with me?
Right.
And you made a decision about yourself. And I want people to understand the power of that decision because it's written into your hard drive. So when we do a love imprint session, it's not something that we just like bestow upon you, right? It's a collaboration. And we come up with this language. There's so much that's discovered. It's like being in a, I mean, yes, it's like being under a microscope, but it's more like when you're gardening. It's like going to find this root cause of this problem.
I want to say it's
fix.
like shining a light into the dark, right?
Oh yeah.
It's really like putting a spotlight on this thing that's in your blind spot. You can't see it, right? But it's right there, and it's actually pretty obvious once you get it. So we had a male client. I'm not going to share his name, who grew up in a very kind of chaotic childhood. His dad was an alcoholic. He was emotionally abusive. He was misogynistic. His mother would kind of use him as a confidant.
Yeah.
Right? She would share her sadness and her frustration
But
with
she
her little
treated-
son.
Yeah, and she treated him like a grown-up.
Right.
She shared things that she shouldn't have shared to a child.
And for him, the whole situation was just very chaotic and very unnerving. And so, in very young, like late teens, early 20s, he meets a woman and they get married and they have a bunch of kids together. And the whole time they're together, she's cheating on him, right and left, right? And he finds out and she turns mean.
It's chaos.
She turns mean and cruel and has been since, right? Since they divorced.
And that was the last thing he wanted because he's such a great dad
Right.
and he loves his kids.
And the whole situation was just very chaotic and very And so he, after that, just said, forget it. I clearly am broken.
I'm cutting it off.
I'm
not thinking about my love life.
Right. He had nothing but
When
very
he reached
superficial sexual relationships through most of his adult life until he finally reaches out to us.
Well, this I found interesting because when he reached out to us, he said, I don't know about all the soulmate stuff you guys talk about, but I know I have a lot of healing that I need to do in this arena. And I know you're the people I want to do the healing work with. And I thought, wow, that's so interesting because it didn't take very long.
Right.
I think it was only 3 or 4 sessions into coaching with us that he was like, I'm really excited to date now.
Yeah.
And everything started to change for him. And it doesn't have
And
to
he's
take
still
long.
excited to date.
Yeah.
Right? He's still dating and still exploring that whole thing and enjoying it.
So who does this resonate with? This idea of like shining a light in the dark places gives you options, right? We always say choice in your behavior brings happiness. And really that's so much of what we do is we give you the opportunity to have choice because we're shining light into the dark places where you didn't have choice. And now that you see these things and we've brought them into the light, you now have choice. Does this excite anybody? Say me. This excites me. Anybody type a me in the chat.
Or does this terrify you? You can respond in that way as well.
Say me if it's me, like what I said. And if it terrifies you, say yes. I want to know the difference. Who's like, oh my God, I'm terrified, I'm out of here. Oh, click, leave meeting. Any yeses or me's today? Wow, we stunned them
There
silent.
we go. Marissa says yes.
Oh.
Good.
I always say when you're terrified, that just means that you're, Nancy says, me, thank you. I want to say this, the fear is excitement and fear all wrapped up together.
Mm-hmm.
Because on some level, we all resist change, right? We are creatures of habit. And I just want you to know, like, we really believe in each of you. Like, we're here every other week doing these love interventions to intervene in your love life because we care about you. Because we want you to know that your past doesn't have to reflect your future in love. You can literally wipe the slate clean and create the kind of future that you dream of. I used to be the person that thought this wasn't in the cards for me.
I used to be the person that thought there's no way I ever will get married because I can't keep a relationship, right? I always thought deep down inside that I was going to screw it up. And so when I'd meet a woman and she'd be interested in me, the first thought I would have would be, okay, what's wrong with you, right? And then the second thought I would have would be, well, wait till you get to know me. You won't want to stick around because I'm going to screw this up in some way. And that's what I was doing, right? I was just playing out the belief over and over and over again until I went, wait, I don't have to keep doing it this way. And, look what I found, right? And I just
like
want to
I was
say,
a $5 bill.
yes, well, more like $100 bill.
Aw.
So we share these stories because we want you to get that we're not unique, we're not special, we're not like lucky and blessed in some way that's any different than what you are capable of. We're just people who didn't give up.
And we figured it out.
But I want to say we're people who didn't give up. Because there were plenty of opportunities, there were plenty of chances in both of our lives to just say, screw this doesn't work, why bother, right? But we didn't because we both knew it's what we wanted. Yeah. And I think it's kind of, interesting that we ended up doing this. We ended up coaching you. I mean, if you said to 35-year-old me or even 40-year-old me, you're going to be a love, dating, you're going to be a soulmate coach, I'd be like, what?
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I would not have believed that.
I don't know what you're talking about, right? But it became our passion because when we did connect and when we did create this relationship together, it was so great in the beginning. It was so wonderful. We wanted to share that. We wanted to say to people, we wanted to scream it from the rooftops. Look, you can do this too.
It's still great now.
It is still great now. It's different great. Listen to John Legend, I Don't Love You Like I Used to. Listen to that song and you'll understand how it's great now. Very different than the way it was great then.
You said it was great in the beginning.
Great in the beginning.
That's why I had to say it's still great now.
It's still great now.
It's still great now. It's different. I mean,
it's different.
I never was the girl who used to dream about getting married. I never thought anybody would marry me. I never in a million years did I never thought a guy would stand up in front of people he knew and promise to love, honor, and cherish me. Like I didn't think there was a person that would ever do that.
Yeah.
I never thought that was possible for me. I just never. I spent so many years thinking that was literally impossible.
Yeah.
And when I decided I really wanted a great love relationship, I've always been a very good student, so I literally consumed everything I could possibly find. And again, I was outside the bell curve. There wasn't anybody there to really help me. I was the weirdo in the group, and that was really hard because that's when I got angry. Matthew talks about we didn't give up. I didn't give up because I got angry, and this is why I got angry. I got angry because of my parents, and I thought, I'm not going to get love because they're not capable. And I was like, that's not okay with me.
Right.
Like, I was like, that's just not okay. Like, I was like, I didn't want to be anything like them. And so it's like, in spite of them, I have this great love. In spite of them.
Well, I love that because, no, I mean, I really do love that. I don't know how many times, you hear an interview with an actor or an athlete or somebody who's accomplished, an entrepreneur, somebody who's accomplished a lot in their life.
Yeah, like a teacher or somebody,
right?
like,
and they all say at
yeah.
some point there was one person who said, oh, you're never going to be anybody, right? And they went, oh, okay, I'll show you. And I think that's really, that's a great way to motivate yourself, right?
Yeah.
I'll show you is a wonderful way to motivate yourself because the thing about anger, right? We want to look at people think that anger is an emotion you shouldn't feel. Anger is fine. There's nothing wrong with anger. What's wrong is what people do with anger, right? How people treat other people because of their anger. That's wrong. The anger itself is not wrong.
Yeah.
It's the behaviors people take because of it, and we can see it in our world all around us right now. It's chaos. Anyway, I'm not going down that road.
Please
However, anger is so much stronger than depression. It's so much stronger than apathy because anger has
sadness
action,
or hurt.
Sadness or hurt.
Yeah.
Because anger has action in it. Anger puts energy in your body.
Yeah.
Righteous anger has changed the world. So You want to take that righteous anger for yourself and say, hey, look, this sucks. I'm going to change it. I'm not going to be one of those bitter people. I'm not going to be that person, right? If you have a date with somebody and somebody says, wow, I mean, look at you. You like that guy who said to you, what, you've never been married?
Oh my God, it sounds like
you've never been married? Right? If you
in
have
like 12 minutes.
find somebody in your life who did that to you, who said
somebody who poo-pooed your
your dreams,
yeah.
who poo-pooed your desires,
Whatever.
who looked at your list of your soulmate description and said, oh, you're never going to find anybody like that. You need to compromise and say, no, I'll show you. Right? I remember, so Orna mentioned her matron of honor, right? And her name was Sherry, and Sherry gets up at our wedding reception.
Her name is Sherry.
Her name is Sherry, right? Sherry gets up at our wedding reception, and she says,
that was the toast.
Her toast, right? She says, well, Orna had this
when
long list. When I met Orna, she had this list, and I thought, there is no way you're ever going to meet somebody like that.
I thought, good luck.
Good luck.
And she's like, and here she is. And you know what's funny about that? I didn't actually really have a list. But in our conversations, I think that's what she took away from our conversations about what I was looking for.
Right.
And it's funny that she was the one who stood up at our wedding to say that in her toast.
Yeah.
I mean, she was a great matron of honor, but I think, I picked her for a lot of reasons because I had a lot of friends that weren't married at the time. Mm-hmm. And I wanted somebody who'd already been married. Like, I didn't want a maid of honor. I wanted a matron of honor. I wanted somebody who knew the job.
Okay.
Right? Because if you've been married, you pick somebody to do that job.
That makes sense.
Right? So that was one reason why I picked her. And the other reason I picked her is because she has a lot of attention to detail, and she is sort of like a style fashionista kind of person, and that job requires that.
Yeah.
Like I looked at it like a job. But the main reason I picked Sherry to be my matron of honor is because when I really got serious that I wanted a really great love relationship, for the first time in my life, I admitted that I wanted a husband. Mm-hmm. I wanted a husband. She was the only person that was actually actively supportive in me having a husband.
I love that.
Like, not just another boyfriend, but a husband. And like, it took so long for me to think that I could have a husband because I really never thought somebody would marry me.
Right.
And so when we did get engaged, I thought, well, the one person who was supportive of me actually having a husband was Sherry. And so that's why I picked her. I wanted her to stand next to me.
Yeah.
I wanted her to stand next to me because she was super supportive that I have a husband.
I love that.
Yeah.
So find that person in your life who doesn't crap on your dreams, right? Who says, I see the possibility in you. And the rest of the people, just tune them out.
Use it as righteous anger.
Or use it as righteous anger.
Yeah.
Say, in your mind,
I'll show you.
Say, I'll show you. I'll show you. You're wrong about me. You're wrong about what I want.
Yeah.
And because I want to say that to all of you, what you want is worth having. What you want is out there. There's billions of people on this planet.
Yeah.
And wherever you live, there's tens, hundreds of thousands, millions of people within driving distance of you, right? So none of you are living on a mountaintop in the middle of the Yukon.
Because you're online.
Because you're online, right?
Which means you can meet anybody anywhere.
Which you can meet anybody anywhere. So
is your life going to stay exactly as it is +1? No, that's not going to happen. But I promise you, your life, when you share it with an ideal mate, it's exponentially better. It's exponentially better.
Yeah.
And if you want that, go to yourloveimprint.com. Book a Love Imprint session with us. Book it. Just do it. Get on the phone with us. And, we'll dig into what those hidden blocks are for you and really talk about what the solution is for you.
Yeah.
Tam, you're so sweet. She says, you two are authentic and sincere. I don't know how we could be any other way, but thank you for acknowledging that. It feels really good to hear. It really lifts my hope to tune into your Love Intervention sessions. Well, I'm going to say one more time. Hi, everybody. I'm Orna Walters.
I'm Matthew Walters.
And this is Love Intervention. And it's funny because I said my maiden name earlier, it's like now when I say Orna Walters, it's like when I told your family I was changing my name, they all looked at me like, I used to say like I offered to get the plague, but so we just went through a plague, it doesn't have the same effect anymore.
No.
I just thought it was so weird. Like I'd been trying to dump that last name. Like I was so happy to have it. And then not only that, but I think when I answered your family, I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm taking Walters. I'm going to have the same initials as Oprah. Hello, OW right here. I mean, look, I don't care if you take somebody's name, you don't take somebody's name. Oh, and by the way, the person who wrote to us about my big fat ring that I wear during these sessions, that's right, that's my engagement ring. But you know what? It's not my engagement ring because I didn't have one when Matthew proposed. No, this is my wedding band. This is my 10-year upgrade. I got no ring on the proposal.
Somebody wrote you about your ring?
Yeah.
That's weird.
You saw it in our inbox. Anyway, this didn't come with the proposal. This was my 10-year upgrade. So I'm just saying, like, if you're looking for a big old diamond or a big old whatever, then you probably don't belong here because that didn't matter to me.
Yeah, you go find the program that says, get the ring.
Get the ring.
Get the ring or whatever.
That's our friend's program. Go see what she has for you. Because honestly, I didn't give a shit. I mean, Matthew wanted to get me something. I mean, you proposed without a ring. If that's the day, I think we told that story already anyway.
Yeah, we did.
The thing is I just want to say, if you want to share your life with an ideal mate, then you can have that. Because all you really need to bring into this work is the desire to change. And we're here to help you change it. Because it's you. You've been in your own way. Mm-hmm. And if you want to get out of your own way, start at the beginning. Because the love imprint session is the beginning. That's like when you start Monopoly, when you pick your little piece.
Right.
You pick what you're going to be, the shoe or the iron or the whatever. That's what
the
hat, yeah. So that's what your love imprint session is. It's like picking your piece to get on the game board. It's love on purpose. Stop doing love by accident. Stop dating with all this attachment.
I don't know. That's the weirdest analogy. But anyway, you're hilarious.
You're welcome.
The Monopoly. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
It's Monopoly here.
No, it's not Monopoly. I don't know.
Choose your hat.
It's choose your little what's that called?
I don't know.
Your little
your piece. I don't know.
Your icon to move around the board in. I don't know what it's called.
All right, we didn't. Normally, we take questions during these love interventions. We didn't get any questions.
We asked questions this time. We turned
really
the tables on you.
We had some really great
participation
from you guys. We really appreciate that. It lets us know that you are here and we're not just talking to the wall.
Yeah. And we are standing with you. Not only that, we believe in you. So thank you. Mwah. You got it. You're on your way. And I have to tell you, every night before bed, we always say what we're grateful for, and every night we say our clients, because you guys are the bravest, and you show up fully, and you play full out, and we are honored to be your coaches, and we just want you to know, if you want it, you can have it, because sharing your life with somebody is exponentially better. You're not supposed to be alone, and I don't think anybody that joined us today thinks that they, that it's just that they don't want it. I think you showed up here today because you do. So we're here to help.
Yeah.
We're going to be back in 2 weeks, and that makes it May 23rd. That'll be right before Memorial Day, the Tuesday before Memorial Day weekend, I think.
Yeah.
So May 23rd, we'll be back in 2 weeks for the next love intervention. You can reach out to us at support@loveonpurpose.com if you have any questions that we didn't get to today, and you have a question about today that you were like, ooh, I didn't get to the chat because I was driving the car or something, or riding my bike or whatever. And the other thing I want to say is we believe in you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. I wish somebody would have told me that. But I mean, honestly, I almost gave up a lot of times, but I kept going because I kept thinking I'm supposed to share my life with somebody. I'm supposed to share my life with somebody. I'm supposed to share my life. I just knew when I saw my future, I wasn't by myself. And I'm really glad it's this guy. But honestly, if it hadn't been him, it would have been somebody else. Because I wanted a great love relationship, and I'm thrilled that it's him. But if it wasn't him, it would have been somebody else. And that's how you got to think about it. Find your person. Because when it's your person, you're you're going to make it through, right? We always say what? You can't say or do
The wrong thing.
thing with the right person.
Right.
If it was the right person, you'd have figured it out. I mean, there's so many bumps in the road that we've found our way through together. And we're better together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So find that person who thinks, you know what? Yes, you're sometimes, I love you anyway.
All right, everybody. Thanks again for showing up. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
We'll see you in 2 weeks. Take care. Bye for now.